Hi there. Welcome to the Growth Whisperers, where everything that we talk about is building enduring great businesses. Businesses that last, businesses that matter, businesses that make a difference to the entrepreneurs, the leaders, the owners, and the people who work in them. My name is Brad Giles, and today, as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Kevin Lawrence. Kevin, hello, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Brad. Looking forward to today's show. We're talking about a very, very relevant topic, and really looking forward to it.
Oh, it's so timely at the moment.
It is.
I'm itching to get into it because it is the topic of conversation at many of our meetings.
Yes.
As always, we like to start with a word or phrase of the day. And so what might be your word or phrase of the day, Kev?
You know what? Mine is très bien. It's French, which French for very good. We had a great time on a weekend with a bunch of friends with a French-themed evening. And how it's fun to explore the world through different lenses. So thinking about French music, French food, French wine, anything French was kind of what people were thinking about for the evening and coming together and having a great time with friends, which is always good. But just, très bien is just, obviously a very good and a good time. But then also, looking at the world through different lenses, which is always really, really, really interesting for me. I love it.
Lovely. Mine would be balance. And so sometimes you and I have discussed on many occasions our lives may get out of balance. And so you may be familiar with that. And our listeners may also be familiar with that. So it's just about trying to get some balance at the minute, which is probably a little bit more personal, although it obviously resonates with most of the listeners on the call as well, I imagine.
Absolutely. So, très bien balance, or translated in English, very good balance. So, very good balance is what we're looking for, and I agree. That's something. This is a month where I have a bunch of time off, and which is very good for my balance, also good for my thinking and my clarity. Awesome. So, what are we digging into today, Brad? What is this topic that we're excited to be talking about and sharing some perspectives on?
Well, sometimes people put a job advert out there or they have a vacancy and they don't get a lot of people apply for the role. And that can be a little bit frustrating. So what do you do when you've got low numbers of candidates applying for your open roles? So how do you deal with that?
Yeah, and in this economy we're in that is booming, it's a tighter market. There is more demand than supply of great candidates. It's always hard to find great candidates for roles, always. But now it's just harder because there's just, lots of people are employed and some places are getting closer to their version of full employment. So, that's the market that we're in right now. And we're going to dig into it and find out some ideas of what we see other people doing that are helping them to be successful. And the thing I want to start with saying is, everyone's situation is different. And generally, as we get into our first point is, don't forget the basics. The structure and dynamics of the market have not changed. The ways in which people seek employment are still the same. It's just, the supply-demand equation has gone a different direction than it used to be. But fundamentally, nothing has really changed dramatically in the last few years. So don't forget the basics. And the number one basic, and we call it recruiting from your existing network. And the first version of it is leveraging your existing team that already knows that you're an awesome company. And hopefully you are an awesome company. But this is a one that most people miss the boat on. They are your best spokespeople. And if you do engagement surveys and if you've got a great company and your engagements, you're using, the net promoter system for employees. An engagement score north of 50 is excellent. You got a lot of people, and no matter what measure you use, if you've got a highly engaged team, that means that they're passionate about it and they're likely to be very good at recruiting other people because they're just going to tell them what a great place you have. But they're busy doing their jobs, and then they're at their kid's baseball game or soccer match or whatever it is, and they're not thinking about it. They're thinking about everything else in the world, and people under-leverage getting the existing team to be your best recruitment force.
I think it's probably the most important, the thing that I've seen work the most effectively. Okay, the thing that it's perhaps gives the biggest bang for the buck out of all of the things that we've really outlined here is applying, I'm going to say pressure, but applying a focus on getting the team to come up with, let's say, 1 or 2 or 3 potential candidates per month, per week, per whatever. But if we can get some peer pressure and some focus, remember, people respect what you inspect. Okay, so if you're inspecting and you're really focused on the number of candidates that are coming in because it's a problem, well, people are going to, they're going to respect that. They're going to provide more of their time to it. So we've got to be able to get leverage from the team.
Yeah, and I would say, as you say, this is the greatest opportunity. You've seen the most success. I've actually also seen this as the greatest point of failure because people take the wrong approaches. And what doesn't seem to work is bribing your people to do it. Offering bigger incentives tends to provide 0 additional candidates or value, or close to 0. And people say, oh, well, our referral incentive is $500. Maybe we should make it $5,000 or $2,500. I have not seen the needle move because of it. Because just because you bribe someone to do it, they already love you and think you're great. You don't need to bribe them. It's a misguided belief in... Now, if you've made that work in your company, great. Congratulations. Rewarding people for doing awesome stuff, I think, is great. But as Brad pointed out, generally, peer pressure is more likely to do it, and reminder. So, for example, we have a company we work with in the US that needed to recruit a lot of people. And they rallied the team, and they got everyone knowing all of the key roles, and they broke up by department, and every department had a target. And it was like Brad talked about. If it was a department of 15, they had a target of 45 over the quarter, 15 a month, 1 per person every month to produce candidates for any of the roles in the company. And we just wanted candidate flow because these were, again, our best spokespeople. So teams would have brainstorming sessions. Okay, here's the 17 roles. Who do you know? Who do you know that might know? People would make kind of lists and then reach out and contact these people and ask. They would give them quick little job descriptions and some messages they could text, in many cases text to people to share what was about, and then links they could send if there was interest to either the HR team directly or the jobs page. But it was an effort where everyone was expected to do it and contribute whatever they could. They got amazing results. We had a similar one we did in the Middle East, and there we did a whole theme about it, and we called it Wanted. The old Wild West Wanted with the people behind bars. And again, they were hiring 42 people, and we had little wanted pictures for each of the different things. And they did offer a reward, but it was the theme and the engagement that drove it, where people, again, were into their networks, recruiting candidates, and it became a company-wide activity broken down with team-based accountabilities. That works well because it's not that people don't know people, and it's not that they don't want to. They're just busy and they forget they need supportive pressure to go and do the right things.
It's crazy that the monetary incentives that we think would work just don't work. I've seen exactly the same thing where we up the retention, not retention. We up the kind of the bonus that we'd pay if we get someone in. But it just doesn't work. I mean,
No.
I've seen it
People
fall flat on
aren't
its
coin
face.
operated. Contrary to popular belief, most people aren't coin operated. They're pride operated. We go back to the book Drive by Daniel Pink. We're driven by 3 things: autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Now, if you're making $12.75 an hour and you got a family of 4, you're probably a little more coin operated than typical because you have to be to provide for your family. But when you get into management positions, generally people are able to cover their bills, generally, and they're not in survival mode or even psychologically that coin operated. And we overestimate the impact of financial incentives. That's a whole other episode. But it's misinformed.
I had exactly the same thing. I had a situation with a leadership team, and we needed multiple roles. It must have been 20 or 25 roles. And so we said it wasn't, it was more of a critical number than a theme in the way you're describing it with the wanted posted. But we set a critical number, and we said, look, if we can get 3 candidates in the quarter from everyone in the leadership team and the mid-management team, we're going to totally solve this problem. And I mean, we may not have solved it perfectly with every role, but without that effort, we never would have got as close to what we needed.
So your people on your team are going to come back and say, well, we need to provide a better incentive. Don't waste your time. And if you do, and if you want to do it, fine. But that's not what drives the result. What drives the results is the alignment and the accountability and rallying people and making it fun and exciting and giving them space and time to think and act on it. So, and if you want to put incentive, feel free. Just know that that's more of a thank you than something that's going to drive the behavior. Anyways, it's a great thing to do. And you know, it's a missed opportunity in a lot of organizations. It's even better to do it when you've just recruited people from other companies. You've just recruited awesome people from other companies, and there's a window of time there where they could also bring some friends and colleagues along. So that's number one. Don't forget the basics. Leverage the existing team. Rally them. Get them excited. Reward them by all means. But know that it's the rallying and activity time that makes it happen. So the second one, in a similar vein, but is to do the same thing with your network outside the company. Now this is going and spending time and talking to your friends, colleagues, suppliers, customers. Maybe it's your college roommates or professors or the coach of your kid's baseball team that you know is in a similar industry. It doesn't matter who or where. And again, this is something that you know, many leaders that we work with could do much better at. No different than prospecting for customers, but prospecting for talent. And it's a massive opportunity, again, but people are busy and they generally don't give it the priority.
Yeah. So when we've run programs around this, we set up the script for people to say to suppliers, the higher up it comes from, the better, as in the closer to the CEO. But the script is something like, if you were a supplier, Kevin, I would say to you, hey, Kevin, we're on a growth trajectory and we know that you're dealing with people just like us all the time. And I'm just wondering who might be the best person that you've seen or heard about who you think might be an awesome fit for us.
Yes.
Because if we can rinse and repeat that with many of the leaders in the business across all of our supplier networks, I mean, you could get 10, 20, 30 candidates from that even, perhaps.
And you start to build the database of who the best people in the business are. You'll hear names a few times if you're in the same industry. Oh, you got to talk to Sally over here at such and such. So it's an awesome technique.
Do you know what we've missed on that bit there, right? Is the underlying psychology. Because people, like you said, people are busy. Okay? Our leaders are busy. This is just another thing on their huge to-do list. But if you were walking down the street and someone was sort of holding a map, or they looked like they didn't know where to go, and they said, oh, sorry, can you help me? I'd like to get here. Most people are going to naturally help. If we go and ask our suppliers for help, they're going to naturally want to help.
Good call. Yes. Very good. You just got to make the invitation and open the door. The other technique on leveraging the network that we've done in meetings, we've been in strat planning meetings, and one of our clients, they're 750 employees. We've been in meetings where the CEO says, okay, now we're going to do our recruitment. We stop the meeting, and for half an hour, everyone sits on their laptop on LinkedIn for the 3 key roles that we needed, and everyone starts going through the network directly to people that could be candidates they know from the past, or to people that might know. And we've hired some great people out of that process. But basically carving out the time. Everyone knows they should do it. They just don't get to it. And basically, let's do our homework right now. And it works very, very well. And the idea is, it's not only your active contact, it's reactivating old contacts you haven't talked to for a long time. Because the inactive contacts run in different circles. Your active contacts are generally in similar circles, but the reactive sometimes, the reactivating past contacts can sometimes be more fruitful because you know very, very different people. So that's number 2. Proactively leverage your existing network that you have, but that is outside of the company, and making invitations and asking, as Brad pointed out, for their help.
Number 3, double down on internal recruiters or the use of external recruiters. So with this, we've got to think, what is the value of a recruiter? Okay, through our lens, but more importantly, through their lens. So if you were going to sell a recruitment firm, what you would talk about is the quantity of candidates that are in your pool or your database. Okay, so yes, the sales is important, but one of the great values in a recruiter is the quantity of candidates in their database and the accuracy.
Theoretically, we might have another debate if that truly is value, but it definitely is the sales pitch.
It's their, oh no, I agree with you there. It's their sales pitch, but that's the value proposition that they're bringing to our equation. Yes. Maybe. I'll take that as a yes.
Well, I'll just make
it's about the next point.
Sure, well, you continue on. I'll add in if I need to. Yes.
Yeah, it's about, so if the value that they say they're bringing is their database isn't every single candidate.
No.
Right? So they may have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% of the market in their database, but they don't have everyone. And so if we double down, if we look for different recruiters, or if we try to find a more diverse, let's say, to put it into sales terminology, if we have a wider funnel, if we cast a wider net, it's going to give us a better chance of capturing more of the candidates or the potential candidates in the market.
Yeah, I think I wanted to make a point there, Brad, is that recruiters often pitch that their database is their asset. What we found from executive recruitment, it's often a crutch they lean on, but many times they're recycling the same old B players. So it sounds like a value prop, and often when we look for recruiters, we're looking for people that are going to go actually headhunt, take a targeted role in targeted companies, and go and chase people who are actively engaged, and not just recycle their database at us.
And we're saying the same thing.
Perfect.
Like, I totally agree with that. And because the internal principle is that recruiters are limited to what they can do or what they have. And our job when we're hiring is to get the right person in the role. So there's that to consider.
No matter what, the principle that we agree on is tapping into people who either have their own network that's different than ours, or an ability to go and cold call and open up doors and target people that we need them to target. Either way, it's putting yourself into a different bubble or a different environment by leveraging other people's networks. That's with the external recruiters. And with the internal, it's just put more muscle on the job. Like, it's at the end of the day, when the economy is soft, we often allocate more money to marketing and sales. And when the economy is booming, we often don't need as much there. We actually need more of it on getting talent. So it's almost like, let's take some of your dollars and your energy from sales and marketing and allocate it to recruitment and hiring an additional internal recruiter or external agencies, whichever is appropriate for you guys.
So let's move on to number 4. If posting job ads, get your creative sales hat on. What is your unique value proposition that the best candidates will resonate with? So if you've got a crappy job ad, there's a very good chance that it's going to potentially impact the number or quality of candidates you get. Who would have thought, right?
Yeah, and often job ads are just basically the top part of a job description dropped into, an ad. And getting your creative mind on how do you sell the opportunity? What need are you solving for a person? What's unique about what you have to offer? And truly getting people to understand it and putting it in a way where it just sticks out from all the other to make sure that the candidates apply to your particular jobs. And you can look at episode 67. We talked about why should anyone come work for you at the same salary as your competitors. The key point is put your sales and marketing hat on. Don't just post the top of the job description. Make it compelling and make it stick out from the crowd in a way that's reflective of what you're about. So go ahead, Brad.
So number two, we spoke about leveraging the network, your suppliers, your customers, your colleagues. But then the next one that we're talking about is ask everyone everywhere. And so waiters, salespeople, delivery drivers, cell phone service people, like everybody. You know that Apple, when you're an Apple employee, you get a card, like a business card kind of size. And whenever they come across awesome service, they are asked to give this business card to the person. And it says, I can't remember the exact words, but it says something like, the service that you provided now was exceptional. I'd never ask you to move, but if ever you're thinking about moving jobs, we'd love to have a chat with you at Apple. And they're all given these cards, and if ever they experience it, so they've always got people who are interacting with others, and they're able to build that referral network, that candidate pool.
Yeah. The main thing is when you're out and about and you see greatness, invite greatness to come join you. That's it. It's just always be recruiting and thinking about it. That's number 5. Ask everyone, everywhere. Number 6, leverage your marketing team. We already talked a little bit about putting more dollars to recruitment. You could also allocate more dollars from your marketing of your products and services to the marketing of getting talent, because that's where the market's tighter right now for most companies. So whatever your marketing team's capabilities are, or your external marketing consultancy you use, get them using the social platform. People are doing stuff on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and good old Google search, whatever it happens to be. But what do you do to reach out to people who either don't know you or haven't thought about you recently, to get them coming to you to see what you're about and what you have to offer? And, obviously in the next point, we'll talk about what you want people to see when they come to your site. But letting people know, again, what's unique about you, but reaching out to not just the job sites, but the other social platforms where people would be engaging, and and it could be LinkedIn, whatever it is. The idea is to get your marketing team on it and getting them testing different channels to see what produces the best results.
Awesome. And then number 7, do you have an awesome jobs page? Well, in Australia, the leading job board is called Seek, SEEK, and they get, I don't know the accurate, I'm going to estimate it's like 70, 80, 90% of all job adverts. They tend, it's a real monopoly in that sense. But within this same market, there are more job adverts on Google or job searches on Google than there are on Seek. Okay, and that's typical across the world, that Google or SEO, search engine, is a much better way, or is another channel to try to get people. So that means that you've got to have a page on your website that's dedicated to jobs, and it's got to be jobs that are SEO friendly, such as we're looking for a mechanical engineer, and this is all of the descriptions of a job in the same way you would put into a job board.
And when they do get to the jobs page, it needs to sell your company and the opportunity, and why coming to work for you would be the best decision that they could make at this point in time. Of course, there's got to be the details on a job, but selling the company and selling the culture and the opportunity are absolutely critical.
Awesome.
Great list. So if really, just to kind of go back to the top, and we'll kind of sum this up, this is basic. If you're not getting enough candidates, here's a bunch of different strategies, and in this market, this is important for a lot of people. And, number 1, don't forget the basics. Leveraging your existing team and rallying them, not just putting a carrot out in front of them, but rallying them to go and recruit into their networks and making it easy for them to tell the story about the opportunities you have available. And then the same thing outside of the company into your existing networks and colleagues and suppliers and college roommates, whatever it happens to be. Letting them know what you need and asking them to help you find awesome people that would be relevant for those roles. Number 3, double down on internal recruiters or external recruiters. Get more muscle behind the job. And for a lot of roles, it's worth paying the extra cost to hire an additional recruiter if you're of enough size, or even a part-time one, or 10 full-time ones, depending on the scale of your business, or using external agencies to help put more muscle behind getting it. Brad, do you want to take number 4 then on there?
Indeed. So it's about job ads, number 4. If you're creating job ads that are mediocre, you may not even get any candidates in this market. And so your job advert must come from a creative sales hat, and it must resonate with candidates. And again, we did a episode number 67 on this. Why should anyone come and work for you at the same salary as your competitors? Number 5, ask everyone everywhere. Waiters, salespeople. We gave the example of Apple giving out business cards to try to improve their candidate pool. Number 6, leverage your marketing team. So marketing teams that are only focused on customer leads could potentially also be dedicated, internal or external, on candidate leads. So this is about getting leads. That's what the marketing team does. So get them to come up with creative campaigns to bring in new candidates. Then number 7, of course, is do you have an awesome jobs page? So you've got to have a page on your website that talks about the open jobs that you have so that you can perhaps get more candidates through that angle. What a good chat we've had today, Kevin.
Awesome. Yes. So, hey, thanks for listening to the Growth Whisperers this week. I'm Kevin Lawrence, and as you know, my co-host here is Brad Giles, who you can reach for information on him and his firm and his awesome newsletter at evolutionpartners.com.au. And for myself and our firm, Lawrence & Co., lawrenceandco, ANDCO.com, same thing, more about our firm and what we do, and our awesome newsletter, if I could so humbly say that. Have an awesome week, and good luck getting all the candidates that you want for your roles so you can build an awesome team of A players. Have a good one.